vocal warm-up.
Welcome to the River City. We're going to bury the Sky Chopper in about half an hour.
Good morning, Vietnam! Sibilance.
Soccer style kicker, graduated from Collier High, June 1976. Stenson's University Honors graduate, class of 1980. Holds 2 NCAA Division I records, one for most points in the season, 2 for distance, 4 winning in the mule, first only pro athlete ever to make it out of Collier and Cali, and one hell of a model American.
Oh my God!
Boom.
That's amazing.
Mate of mine.
If these microphones weren't attached, you could drop that.
Get Into Geek. This is episode 42. We are talking 1969.
There we are.
You know what this episode was missing? I know it had time travel, had a lot of, great, wonderful costumes, and Teal looking ridiculous with hair. We should have got like a post-credit out of the show cover of this song.
Absolutely.
Sung by the Four.
Yeah.
Teal on drums.
Obviously.
Oh,
Carter on keyboards.
Yeah.
Or Daniel on keyboards.
I would have thought.
Yeah, Carter's definitely a bass guitar player.
Carter on bass. Yeah, Carter on bass. Just slapping the bass.
Jack on the mic.
yeah, on the mic
lead
and
guitar.
also lead guitar, but he's one of those
Shredding.
lead guitarists when you go and see them perform that only strokes it like once every 4 times he should. It's like, and it
Could
just
you
sings.
imagine Hammond on the
He would have been a good drummer.
on the lead guitar, man?
Yeah.
Like what's the
The
old
big
mate's name with the hat?
Axe-shaped one.
Oh, Slash.
Slash, yes. I'm like Snake, Slappy,
Is he
Samsonite.
wearing-
Swanson? I was way off.
Oh, boy, we're getting off track. We are the Get Into Geek
yeah.
team, the full team. My name's Mitch. We've got Matty, Brennan, Rhys here. How you doing,
recording.
boys?
Yo. Hello.
Hi.
Ah, yes.
I didn't realise we were
bass.
recording.
Oh, no, mate. That's the thing. We just have so much fun. We come in the room. I mean, recording, whatever, man.
Is that why we're here?
It's a weird place to come and
You're
meet
going to be
every week.
arrested for what you said earlier.
Yeah.
If I haven't been arrested yet, I'm definitely not
he's-
going to.
Haven't caught me yet. We're just talking Stargate. We're up to the penultimate episode of Season 2, Episode 21, 1969.
Yeah,
we're going to get into Rhys's thoughts in just a second, because Rhys is watching Stargate for the very first time, 20 years on from when he should have, because we've loved it, the rest of us here in the room, Brendan, Matty and I.
What were you doing?
What?
Instead of watching Stargate for the last 20 years.
Is it just because, like...
I was out kissing girls, mate.
It's not what I've seen.
All right, let's see what the DVD says for us. As far as this episode is concerned, a solar flare sends the SG-1 team back to 1969, where the US military command suspects the team of espionage. O'Neill and his crew escape and hitchhike with 2 Woodstock-bound kids. No, they're not. Desperate to find the Stargate before they're stuck in the psychedelic past forever.
Kids.
Or, of course, in 3 months' time, it'll be 1970, and they won't be, but whatever.
So it actually says Woodstock on the cover, because they don't actually say Woodstock, do
No,
they? They
no.
say, well, we're going to a concert.
I'll tell you what, that
Upstate
blurb
New
makes
York.
them sound really integral to the plot.
Yeah, it
Yes.
does.
I mean,
And they're
aside
not-
from their bus that conveniently holds 4 more people, that's really all we needed
The
them
Mystery
for.
Machine.
Totally.
Rhys, what did you think first time watching it? Now, did you'd read the title beforehand, I imagine?
Yeah. I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, maybe we're going to go back and learn about Catherine Langford.
Yeah,
What
flashback
she
style.
did.
We're
No,
doing that
Like
next.
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Stargate Origins,
We're waiting till
buddy.
2018 for that.
can't wait. But yeah, and then it sort of surprised me that they went back in time, and I'm like, oh, well, this is better than I expected.
Yeah,
And then
so good.
Yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
another one where like Daniel's just like in a room just watching reel-to-reel stuff on a VHS for the entire episode
yeah.
and not going anywhere.
Honestly, that was the first note that I made about this episode, because I figured you probably had seen the title. I know we've mentioned it the last couple of weeks anyway, leading up to it. Do you think the title card, post opening credits, sort of ruined it a little, because it says 19. If you come in fresh, watching it on TV back in the day, where they don't have written in the TV guide or anything what the episode's called, and you see them show up in a weird place, the background changes, they're seemingly on Earth, there's an American military there arresting them, and then it pops up, says 1969. They're like, I don't know where we are. And I'm like, well, now I kind of figure the title's ruined it, before
Yeah.
Carter then theorizes, holy shit, I think we went back in time. Like, that should have been the reveal.
Approximately,
Yeah.
she says, approximately 30 years within about 8 seconds
Yeah.
of being there. And I was like, I know Carter's smart,
Yeah.
but come on, love.
Fashionista weapons. I'm like, I don't think in that moment, really, you're that
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, that uniform those SS were wearing, oh, that's clearly from 1967 through to 1971. And, well, it's like,
I'm a part-time military fashion designer.
Yeah, I thought they being Carter and Jackson, very quickly not only jumped past the idea that it could be and then definitely was time travel, but they started talking how they can and can't use time travel when they get back. It's like, oh, we can go back and do this and we can go see the wall, and can we kill Hitler and stuff? And it's like, you just realise this might have been time travel, and all of a sudden you're talking about watching the dinosaurs get extinct.
Yeah,
like,
you've got to learn how to control it first.
Yeah.
You know, this is a complete accident. You don't know if you can get home yet.
Yeah.
Just ease your roll.
And I think the nitpick at the start for me, when they actually went through the gate and they come back into the gate room for a sec, and then the Stargate disappears, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Because it didn't happen at the end when they went back. They ended up going back to the SGC when they went way forward in time and saw Cassandra.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how come
the warehouse setting?
Yeah,
didn't
why
carry
weren't they
on?
in the warehouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it is. And that's the one sort of negative I have about this episode is, the whole episode is premised on the road trip of them getting from Shine Mountain to wherever the Stargate is. And not to spoil anything for Rhys, but we do have, few, time travel episodes again, coming up. Yes. And they kind of just retcon this completely.
Yeah.
And this particular instance never happens again.
This just came to me, though. That would have been really cool if they came out of the gate and went in, and it was the same warehouse that the second gate was stored at in the present. That would have been cool.
That would be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Add a bit of confusion.
No, you remember when it was in...
Yeah, and they had the DHD in the back of the truck.
Yeah. That would be totally... I mean, it probably was the same
it
warehouse.
Probably was the same warehouse.
They filmed the same one.
Back lot.
I do think in the next sort of time travel episode, they do buy it back a little bit, where Carter checks the tech and compensates for stellar drift and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
and
gravitational or something.
Yeah, and does sort of retcon it for space-time continuum, something like in the next episode, as a way to buy it back, because otherwise, anytime we want to do a time travel episode, you have to spend the first half of the episode finding where the Stargate is in whatever time period you're in.
Yeah,
which makes things really difficult.
When they first came through that gate and it changed into where they were underneath that missile, to me, I was like, oh, this looks like the Tin Man base, where they, how they first went into in the episode Tin Man, how they went in to see old mate Contraya. That's what it reminded me of, that sort of gear.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh shit, are they there? Or it was hectic. And then Tilk shot the base of that.
Another instance.
missile.
Another instance where the Zat saves the day.
MVP to the Zats this week.
Honestly,
this season.
Tilk
so
even
helpful.
opened it when he fired it too. He even opened it first and then fired it.
Well
So,
done.
Like 4, 3, open. I'm like, maybe a little bit quicker, bro. Yeah. But, I just, every time they kept popping up, like he stops, that explosion happening, and they conveniently don't kill anyone in the military and blah, blah. Fire, proving they're from a different planet by making fire bigger. Like everything that happened in this episode. Opening a locked crate was thanks to a Zap.
I lost my
That's
mind
not electronic.
when I saw that.
It's a metal case.
Yeah.
Why is that open a padlock?
And then he kicked it and it came open.
Yeah.
For me, it was like Jack looking at it like, I could probably kick that open, but I'm going to see if this Zat gun opens at first.
Yeah.
Shoots it,
I'm gonna
doesn't
kill the
open, he's like,
box.
all right, I'll just kick it.
I'm gonna kill
Well,
it.
no, there was a little spark in it. Like it exploded the padlock when he fired it. Yeah, it blew the padlock off this thing, and I'm like,
God.
I think in their minds they go, oh well, they used it to close those locks on Apophis's ship, so it'll be able to open that as well. Sure.
Yeah, I love that truck scene. I think it's probably one of my favorites, especially the General Hammond or the whatever he is, Lieutenant Hammond. That guy is phenomenal.
Oh.
What an impersonation.
Such good.
So
Has that
good.
little timber in the back and
As
the
soon
pronunciation.
as he started talking, I'm just like, you're kidding. Is this guy related?
Yeah, I
even-
actually thought that too.
Even the look on his face, like when as he turned his eyes and then his head,
yeah,
like when oh man, I was just like,
how did they do it?
that guy is amazing. They better have him back.
But I think this is my favorite part of this episode is Tilk's great line in the truck. Did you guys pick that up? Where they're trying to explain to General Hammond, like, that they're from the future.
And seeing as helping you will undoubtedly lead to court-martial, I'd like to know why I would do that.
Why?
Because it's your idea.
Albeit one you won't have for 30 years.
What?
I know this is kind of hard to understand, but that's roughly how far back in time we've traveled.
Unverified, but Carter's pretty sure
I'm
about
sorry. I can't help you.
Wait, we can prove it. date. What's the date?
August 4th,
See, I told you.
1969.
69.
Classic Teal'c.
I just want to say something. I know I make a lot of weird shit.
Oh my god.
I had nothing to do with that.
That's a 35-second grab. 33 seconds of it, I'm just thinking, I do not remember Teal'c speaking. I watched this episode today.
Which brings me to a point, actually. I've been having a go at Hammond the last couple of seasons for being a catfishing son of a bitch. I think I know why. Hammond's known all this time that SG won a fine.
Yeah.
He was waiting for that cut on Carter. He knew everything up until Carter's hand.
Totally.
He knew that was going to be fine.
See, the one thing, when you obviously they didn't have this episode in mind when they write the pilot episode. When you first meet Hammond, he walks into the gate room when the wormhole opens, it's Apophis, he comes out, he steals the lieutenant, female lieutenant.
Brad Wright wrote this. I'm pretty sure he did know, mate.
Hey, our Lord and Saviour of SG1, Brad
Watch
Wright.
your mouth.
Yeah, the one thing I think about is that pilot episode, and yeah, that scene, Hammond comes out, and his face when he first sees Apophis, like there's this wormhole that's opened, this piece of equipment he didn't even think really worked or worked anymore, and just the sheer shock value on his face. Now, there's two ways to look at it for me. You can look at this episode and go, hang on, he looks so shocked. Why would he be so shocked? But then there's also, well, hang on, he knew that was going to happen eventually. He just didn't know when or how that thing was going to come on. And, well, not that he even knew really what the Stargate looked like or did, but just something when he became a general was going to happen that was going to involve time travel and all this sort of shit. So I think it does work. It doesn't contradict enough stuff that was written beforehand when this episode was or wasn't thought about.
You can see his reaction as either, holy crap, if you don't include this episode, but if you go back and watch it having seen this episode, you can go, well, there could be that moment of realization where he's just gone, holy crap, this is how it happens.
Did they mention the Stargate to him when they were talking about going back in time? They didn't know. They just said,
No.
we
think
went
so.
back in time.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't know that the Stargate would even have a hand in that, I guess. So
He probably just thought they went to a planet, something like that. Send them
Yeah,
back
but I
in
think he
time.
was like, he knew that he was on his way then because he knew, like they did say that he was a general because he said, oh, General Hammond, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So then he knew something was going to happen when he was a general where...
That's why he stayed at
People he
Cheyenne
knew-
Mountain for 30 years.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm just going to settle down and retire here because I know I've got to finish off a grandfather paradox.
Because I was questioning that halfway through. I'm like, if he knew that they were going to go back in time when that happened, why did he do it? Because he gave the note to Carter, and I'm like, why would he let them go? And then as it went through the episode, I'm like, because if he didn't, he wouldn't be a general. That's selfish, motherfucker.
No, I found myself
because
asking...
then Jack would know him that money.
Yeah.
yeah.
I found myself asking that
Plus
through the
interest.
episode. I'm like, no. There is a reason coming up before the end of the episode as to why he let that still go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, for me, my question is, well, okay, would his career have changed that much if they didn't meet? Like, would he have served in the military for another year and went, you know what, this shit isn't for me. I don't think my career's going anywhere. I'm never going to get promoted. But they come back and go, you're going to be a general one day. He goes, all right, I'm going to stick with this.
Yeah.
Because to me, I still don't understand why, knowing that was going to happen when he saw a hand, he didn't go, oh no, we can do this another time, or we don't have to do this at all. Like, there was no reason why, other than maybe to promote his own career, why it happened.
Well, that's it. If,
why he
if
allowed it to happen.
SG1 had saved his life in the past or something like that,
Yeah, something
he's
maybe.
like, okay, well, I've got to do this for my own safety. Apparently, I did read somewhere, and forgive me for details because I only skimmed over it, but I don't know if it's an official book or whether it's a fanfic or something like that. But apparently, there's a story set in the past, and it's like Hammond is like a colonel or a major or something like that. And he ends up saving a young Jacob Carter's life.
Yeah, I read that.
Oh,
too.
wow.
Or something
cool.
like that. Which
In
was
Vietnam.
which was like a nice sort of tie-in to everything sort of that comes
Because I
here.
think in an alternate timeline, when something else happened, I won't ruin for Rhys, but in that alternate timeline, Carter didn't join the military because Hammond didn't save Jacob, so he died, so she didn't want to join the military because it upset her mum.
Oh.
But anyway,
Wow.
it's going too into depth, but I just like that shit.
Yeah.
That's why I think this is my favourite episode of the season, just because obviously it's awesome and I love time travel
Yeah.
so much.
I think the first time I watched this episode, my tiny mind was blown. I was like, we can travel through time as well?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we can do anything! But then as the series progresses, I feel like this one slides lower and lower down the ladder for me because so many other episodes do the time travel aspect better.
Yeah.
And
I just like the
yeah.
era as well. They chose 69 in that era. It's
ideal.
groovy and-
Yeah, if you're going to go to if you're going to send Jack O'Neill to any time frame, it's got to be that. It's got to be that or like, the Roaring 20s in Chicago, like the only places you want to send Jack O'Neill.
God, imagine seeing Teal'c as a 1920 and 30s gangster.
Oh Jesus!
Yes.
That would have been sweet.
Yeah, I was watching it, I think, with your kind of eyes, Matty, thinking about that. Because last week when I said, this is one of my favourites of the season and probably in the whole series, I always think about this episode. And then I watched it for probably the first time in, I reckon, 10 years today. And I'm like, I can see why Matty probably has fallen off this. But yeah, it is cool to think that we're 2 seasons into a sci-fi show like this with the possibilities this show has already shown us. And only now we're even touching on the possibility of time travel. I have never really even hinted at that before, that something so incredible like the Stargate and the wormhole could
And
be
I
used for
think
that.
in There But For the Grace of God, at one point, Daniel says to Carter, well, could I have gone through to an alternate reality? And she goes, no, the Stargate doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then now all of a sudden it can send you back in time, though?
Yeah.
By
And
accident.
I bet she come to that conclusion.
Fucking Cooper.
That's one.
But I think this is pow right in the Cooper.
Yeah.
I think this is also though it's the proto comedy episode.
Yeah.
This is Stargate is so like drama and action driven. This is the first time they've gone, let's play up the comedic light-hearted aspect of it.
Like Holiday, the old switching characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that still had the serious element of
Marcello. That side was definitely, but yeah.
But the other side was fun and goofy.
Yeah.
But this is like the whole episode is kind of because they're going to get back because
Yeah.
otherwise the series finishes.
Yeah.
So they're going to get back. But you just want to know and find out how. But it's like we spend so much time on the road trip, and they go shopping for clothes.
It was like a little movie, wasn't it?
And
Yeah.
The thing is, too, like, I feel watching it this time around that they kind of wasted having Teal'c on Earth again.
Yeah.
Like, they could have, in that montage, however long it went for,
Wait for it.
they could have had Teal'c
Go to Disneyland.
go to Disneyland.
Road trip!
This music is what I hate most about the episode.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Because I was about to try and sing it before and I couldn't think of it at all. I was always going to substitute
Having
it
a good
for.
time. Buying cheap clothes and bandanas.
Oh, get
Carter got a girlfriend now. Oh, you?
They were hugging.
You
at one
look
point.
great. No, you look great in it. Let's go show the guys.
Give her those Bono glasses she can wear.
Teal'c's like, hey, O'Neill's like, hey, I can fix this engine. Teal'c's like, what are you doing on here? At one point, he's halfway into the engine.
Yeah.
Through this montage.
That is
So
not
helpful.
I need
is
a
Shot it with a
Recovery
Zat, that
O'Neill.
fixed it up.
I need a bigger spanner.
This is literally how long the music goes for
Yeah.
the first montage.
Yeah.
And they go back to it another 3 times.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I hate this music so much. Yeah! Like it's still going. I love it. This is still a montage. Like,
I like, because before
does my head
before
in.
it really got into the full montage, not that I hated it, but I think the worst thing they did was the very cliche sort of 80s, 90s thing when you're on a road trip actually showing the map with the red line
Yeah.
going across the highway
Like, all
where
they
you
needed
go.
was like a little cardboard cutout of the bus, just sort of doing that along the things. But yeah, what you're saying about sort of Teal'c being very sort of underused here, there is like a 3.5 second shot where Teal'c is driving and Daniel's next to him. You see Daniel kind of touching the
gear stick.
the gear stick, Teal'c's gear stick. And then there's an episode, I want to say like season 9 or 8 or something like that. And he says, "Oh, Teal'c, where did you learn to drive?" And he says, "Daniel Jackson, 19." I don't know if he says 1969.
He goes, yeah, he said, I believe the year was 1969.
That's right. And
Cool.
he basically says, so there's this whole subplot in there where Daniel actually teaches Teal'c how to drive.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I would have preferred that than a 2-minute montage of them,
Yeah.
shopping at an op shop.
I think it was season 6 because I thought it was Mitchell's Jonas.
Oh,
this time.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it must be.
I was hoping, when they were hitchhiking, I was just really hoping like and like a few cars are going past, and then a DeLorean drives past as well.
Yes.
That would have been so good.
Yeah, I reckon all they could afford was that T-Bird that Jack talks about,
Yeah.
or the Corvette or whatever
I
it was.
remember
It's
that,
like
yeah.
that was the car they hired for that shot.
Yeah.
They just couldn't afford a DeLorean as well.
I think there's a few more modern cars on that road that drive past.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Now, talking about pop culture references, I know we joked before we turned the mics on, but when he's in the interrogation room, when they first arrive at the missile silo, whatever, you know, he fakes his name as being Captain James T. Kirk. Now, Matty...
We need to address the elephant in the room.
I'm Major Robert Thornburg. And you are?
Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise.
Your dog tags say otherwise.
They're lying.
I love that.
Now, I feel like
All right, here we go.
if Jack's allowed to talk about it,
No, that still counts as one.
I should be allowed to talk about it. Come on, isn't that the seal of
You
approval?
can, you
all
can
right,
talk
but-
about it. It's not like you can't. You have 3. You can talk about 3 times.
I said 2 sentences the other week, and Mitch gave me 2 bloody buzzers
yeah,
for
that's
it.
just a bit of fun.
It's a bit of friendly
Look,
banter.
I just feel like Jack's giving me the seal of approval. Clearly,
All
Jack,
right.
Jack is a
All
Star
right.
Trek
You
fan.
can, you can, but stay on topic.
We got an egg timer.
If you say Janeway, I'm going to shoot you.
Do you know what I love the most is that you know that name now, only because you know me. It's brilliant. All I'm saying is I'm just going to save up Star Trek time because in later seasons,
on with it.
in later seasons, there are a lot of guest stars that were from the show and
What show?
episodes that have the same title that I'm going to want to talk about.
When did
so-
Star Trek start?
That's the premise of what he's about to say.
Yeah, I assumed.
Huh?
When
Is that
what-
not why you wanted to bring this up? Is that not why you were angry about it?
No.
The fact this is set in 69, and when did Star Trek
Oh, like
66?
66, 67,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's obviously either that the Colonel guy doesn't know Star Trek.
Well, it
'cause
wasn't
obviously it would
very
be out.
popular when it came out.
Yeah,
was
it was.
it?
That's what was cancelled after its 3rd season or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or was he just, going very blank?
Yeah,
sort
well
of
then
like
obviously he
calling
has his
him and
dog
bullshit.
tags.
Yeah.
And then obviously Jack does the great thing of then saying his name's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, see, when I was watching it, I'm like, James T. Kirk, I'm like, hang on, this is like at least a couple of years after Star Trek was invented. Now, did they just make a simple mistake? Surely not, because they're sci-fi nerds that write this. Why didn't he just say Luke Skywalker? And then he goes, I'm Luke Skywalker. And I'm like, there we go.
See, I knew that would appease you guys.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay, if you don't buy
And I'm
Star
like
Trek,
74
you buy
or
Star Wars.
77 or
Could have been
whatever.
Homer Simpson. Could have been a real blatant Simpsons reference from
Yeah, that
O'Neill.
would have been good.
Could have been Donald Trump.
My name's Simpson. Homer Simpson.
all I'm saying is there's an episode in like season 10 where there's a legit Star Trek spoof. Like there's like a 3-minute scene, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna bide my time.
That's a long time.
At the end of our talk about Bane, our episode, if you haven't listened to it,
Sorry, I forgot it.
go to the end. And there's a little bit of theatre sports at the end that we got it.
Tried to block it out.
And Brendan says, "Oh, can I be German?" And it reminded me. That's what it reminded me of when Daniel Jackson's like, "Oh, we'll just pretend. Can I be German?" And
really?
And I yelled at the TV, "It's theatre sports. You can ad lib."
See,
But then he speaks in a French accent. So that's what I didn't get.
I forgot about the whole Catherine Langford inclusion of this episode
Oh,
because when
really?
they're in the van and they said, "Oh, hang on, we have to find out where it is or something," and Catherine, we should go and see. She said she started a research in the late '60s. Maybe we're the ones to give it to her. And honestly, I thought they're going to move on from wanting to visit her. But I'm like, oh, hang on. If this is canon, that Catherine Langford really kicked in her research in the late 60s.
Yeah.
And that would make her, X amount of years old. And if Stargate Origins wants to explore, like they've, recently announced they're going to talk about Catherine Langford, and we've been theorising the last couple of weeks, they're probably going to do a late 20s, early 30s woman playing Catherine Langford. They're not going to start off with an actress as old as what was in this episode, because by this stage,
it's like
Catherine's
40
like
something.
at least mid-40s or something.
Well, yeah, because it was 1955 when old mate from Tormentor Tantalus
Ernest.
went through Ernest, and she was a young woman then,
Yeah.
betrothed to be married to him. So yeah, she's definitely sort of that's past her prime once she gets to 1969.
Well, not if you ask me, mate.
But yeah, she
You
played-
liked her in the movie, I remember.
Do we think that's why Daniel had the fake German accent? Is that to just kind of honour the fact that in the film, Catherine had a German accent,
Ah.
whereas in this,
Yeah.
in this, the actress, the older actress, is just.
Faja.
Oh, yeah. I forgot, actually, that she had a German accent in the film. I was just thinking, her dad was German. I remember that, but I forgot,
Yeah.
Just one of those other things in the film. They're like, who cares? Let's just write that
Was
away.
it German? Oh, okay.
Whatever.
I did like.
Langford, that rich German name.
Yeah.
German American.
Daniel gives good German, but I love his Russian at the start as well.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh, that was the best.
He
love
just kicks his own ass.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
afterwards, he's like, "Whoa!"
Вы советские шпионы?
Нет, Daniel. He just asked if we were Soviet spies. I just...
Daniel.
That was hilarious.
Come with me.
They asked the nerd.
And just this part here, Daniel
Sure.
just realizes what he's done.
You bet. Нет.
Yep. Like to the wall. Like he just turns around to the bunk beds and is like, "Yet? Are you serious?"
I don't think I remember him saying that.
Yeah.
Second time.
yeah.
I don't know,
I
was
cracked
it
up.
actually Daniel, or was
As-
it O'Neill walking
Yeah, I
past
thought it
going,
was O'Neill.
"Niet?"
No.
Like, as in, really?
I thought
A
it
bit
was
like
O'Neill.
the other week when they did body swap, he's like, "Shave my head." It
Yeah.
had that sort of tone to it. But
Oh, I always thought it was Daniel because you see me sort of turns around
Yeah.
to the bunk and kind of just goes, "Yet."
I just imagine
Yeah.
those soldiers that walked in. So you Russian spies? Nah. In Russian language, he's like, that was easy.
And then Daniel later on just decides to completely show off.
So we go in disguise, pretend to be foreigners.
How are you going to do that?
Well, I speak 23 different languages. Pick one.
Pick one, child.
Like, and then obviously through the series he learns like another 3 or 4 alien languages on top of that. So
Yeah.
it's like an overachiever, mate.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Michael for a sec because the first few times I noticed that he was kind of like a cool dude. He's like groovy and stuff. And
Michael,
this time around,
oh,
I'm kind of like the
The
bus
guy- the
driver
bus
guy
driver,
with
right,
the
yeah.
glasses. The only
Who was
other person in this.
he was actually Zales from Spirits.
Michael Shanks.
Yeah.
He was Zales.
He was the vagina
Really?
face.
He was the vagina face guy.
Really?
From,
Wow.
From
Cool.
Spirits.
Yeah, I just noticed this time around with Michael, he wasn't. I didn't feel like he was cool and as much like groovy as he was previously. This time
He was
around,
a bit nerdy and
Well, I
weird.
just had-
and...
see if you can pick up because there's this one bit where he's really shitty.
Hey, we would have stopped, man.
Hi. Listen, we've got gas money. Where you headed?
Upstate New York, some big concert. Where you headed?
New York? Back east?
Hop in.
Get on the bus. Move it. Get up there. Dial 1257. Move it or lose it.
Should have known.
Come on, right up front with me, brother. It's cool.
He's just cranky. Weird.
Can we not let Brayden do audio anymore? Is that...
I'm Michael.
I am not at liberty to reveal my identity. Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful. No yelling on the bus.
He's cranky. I don't get
Can
it.
I say, I also watched Billy Madison on TV last week. And now that's a throwback. Holy shit, did I enjoy that movie.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Oh man.
Oh, that actually-
Shampoo is better.
Sorry,
No,
I had to do
conditioner is
That
better.
movie.
I have to preface that with saying I made something.
When you were introducing it, I'm like, hang on, you don't do the sound bites. What is this?
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Couldn't help myself.
No, see, that part there, the most awkward part I found was this part.
Come on, right up front with me, brother. It's cool.
So that's Michael saying it to Teal'c and holding up a fist of power,
Yeah.
aka Rosa Parks. He's basically saying, oh, you're black. You can ride up front.
Yeah. Because it
Woo!
was
I was
yeah,
like,
it was
Boom.
69. It was that kind of
The civil rights
rights
movement.
movement. So it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I noticed that this time around, not before. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I was like,
Ride shotgun.
"Ooh, did we need that line?"
Yeah.
When he revealed that, or she revealed that he got drafted to the war, I'm just like, I was like, oh shit, like this just got pretty real.
Just got real, you
Like,
know?
yeah, like,
yeah.
we're going to escape to Canada and,
And Jack's like, don't. And she goes, Colonel, don't say anything.
yeah,
Oh, damn it.
that was full on, eh?
Just reminded me of the campfire when they're sitting around and it goes, and Cardi goes, it's a flare. And then they started
Oh,
talking
yeah, and
about
she just
Yeah.
the
brilliant
science
minds
of
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he comes over, he's like, hang on, man. Like, what are you guys talking about? And then Jack picks up the Zat. I was like, oh, he's going to shoot him. Wouldn't that have been good?
Steal his
Steal
bus.
his van and disintegrate him and then go, oh crap, he had the keys in his pocket.
So, currently ruined the timeline. Nah, he's a pain in the ass.
I'd say it's actually a good week to talk about this episode because I was just reading online. It was actually This article I read, the sun is having an explosive day. On the morning of the 6th of September, an active region on the sun belched out 2 huge streams of radiation. One of them was the largest flare in over a decade. 2 flares, both placed in the X-class, the most powerful type of solar flare, one the strongest since 2005. So there's actually solar flares going on while I was watching this episode.
Sick.
And I'm like, clearly there's people traveling around through time. Now, back or forwards, I don't know. It seemed like such an easy solution at the end. Like, how do we know this isn't going to send us back to the Stone Age? Well, that's probably why Hammond gave us a solar flare that was on the other side of the sun, so it will send us forward in time. And I'm like, God damn, that sounds so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll buy into it, sure.
Yeah,
and even at the end, when she opens up the wormhole, but then she's like, we've just got to hold on for a few more seconds.
Like
I'm like,
that.
yeah. Like, surely
that.
once it should be, even if it's as...
It's 38 minutes, come on.
And as soon as
Jack went through like 3 seconds after the other 3 did.
Yes, if it was a matter of not opening the wormhole, but when you jump through the wormhole, Jack, should never have been seen again. He would have been lost in time. And while we're touched on the Catherine Langford stuff and what that probably won't have anything to do with Stargate Origins, even though it probably should, because this is Stargate canon. At the end, in comes this old woman. The Stargate Command Center has seemingly been shut down or whatever. Yeah. And out come this woman. I'm like, oh, who is this again? And then when she said, Sam, you're going to recognize me. And I'm like, oh, don't you say bloody Cassandra. And I'm like, God damn it, she's still alive.
You know, when she first come out, when she first come out, and then she's like, oh, Sam will recognize me. I'm like, oh, shit, is that Sam?
Yeah.
Like,
I thought that too the very
Sam.
first time. I'm like, well, that's sick.
Yeah.
Because it actually did look a little bit like Amanda
Yeah.
Tapping. Yeah.
With the hair.
But then it was
I'm
just
just imagining how
Sandra.
Sam will recognize me. She's looking into her eyes going, I'm sorry, I don't. It's me, Cassandra. You haven't seen me since I was 13. How the fuck should I recognize you then?
And if you notice, she didn't.
She's like...
she didn't actually greet her. She greets Jack, Daniel, and Teal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's only when Sam walks up closer and senses her, then they sort of hug and stuff. But
Yeah.
She didn't actually say hello to her or greet her.
Yeah.
When
She
they're
just
all walking
sends
down
the
ramp.
naquadah in her blood. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Cassandra.
Oh,
that's
you're a gold.
That's Cassandra's naquadah.
Yeah.
I'd recognize that sent anywhere.
What would have been good is like, Sam will recognize me. Sorry, I don't know who you are. It's me, Cassandra. Who? Her?
So yeah, I thought this was kind of cool because my idea, if like they brought Stargate back now, would it pick up from the last episodes that we watched with the SGCs to still be running day-to-day operations, sending people out, meeting new cultures, bringing back supplies, fighting new bad guys? Or would it be kind of cool to see the SGC's been shut down because Kinsey saw the power bill was ridiculous and that old chestnut and Politics 3.0 shut it down or something?
Oh God!
And it brings it back. They need to go out and explore again, or go out and find help, or there's someone that's lost or something. And that's kind of what this was. There's sheets hanging over all the shit in the gate room, and the gate's still there. Why are they not using that 60 years in the future? Like, how is that a thing we've just gotten over? It's like going to the moon now. It's like, we did that 40 years ago. We didn't need to do that
She
anymore.
has
Cassandra
DHD as a watch.
Yeah. And so that's what I thought. Like, maybe they don't need the gate anymore. Maybe they've advanced beyond it.
Yeah, well, that's
You know
true.
what I mean?
Well,
Like-
it's still kind of hidden away in Cheyenne Mountain. It's like, and there's some great episodes in the future where the Stargate becomes, well, in an alternate future, not to ruin it for Rhys, but there's alternate future episodes where the Stargate becomes public knowledge, and anybody can use it, and it's just out in it's like going to an airport. You're going to the Stargate and that sort of stuff. So yeah,
It's one way to pay the power bill, isn't it?
Yeah.
$1 million you can go on
Actually,
through.
look, we talk about power bill. We've talked about it a lot for the last 2 seasons. When they get to the gate and they're like, we don't need power. Well, how much power? A Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Jeep battery.
totally.
I feel like
fires
they've
up
gone.
the
Oh,
f***ing gate.
can we really buy it with one? Nah, 2 should be enough. Two should be enough. I was like, are you?
Yeah, but they're revving it.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's gasoline.
Which?
Come on.
Okay, you've got to choose one. Gundy, you got to choose one. Magic vines or 2 trucks? Which is worse?
2 trucks. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, something makes the magic vines look
Alien
like
vines.
bloody
It's like
genius.
it's got mystery about it.
Just
Yeah.
get a couple of double A's and just put it on the gate
I was
with
waiting.
your tongue.
How much power? And Teal just whips the Zat out, going,
Yeah.
"It hasn't let us down yet."
Just starts
Shoots it
firing
3
multiple
times.
times.
Oh, it's disappeared. We've ruined the future.
Speaking about origins, though, if we're going to go back to Catherine, it won't make much sense for Rhys, unfortunately, but Cameron Mitchell could potentially be in Origins after Continuum. The alternate timeline Mitchell.
Oh, it's been so long since I've watched it.
It's something to think about.
Maybe Michael and Jenny could be in it.
Absolutely, they could.
with their the mystery van.
Old.
All right, so now we're running out of time, so I'll just do a couple of rapid-fire things I thought you guys might find interesting. One, at the start of the episode, Jack gets smacked in the face with the butt of a gun, and he has a little cut above his eyebrow. Those from this episode on, he actually has, Richard Dean Anderson has a nick in his eyebrow.
Oh, right.
It's missing, and this is where it... Because I think he got it in real life around this sort of time, so they wrote it into the episode.
So they have to make it up.
From now on, O'Neill has a little cut in his eyebrow for the rest of the series. There's a weird bit of audio that I think probably would have surprised Brendan as much as it surprised me.
If I remain on this planet, I will eventually be taken over by my mature symbiote.
That was news to me. Jafar can be taken over by their symbionts. We always assumed that they had they would take over a human host and they wouldn't take over Jafar, but
If they were desperate.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what they're alluding to.
I think I always remembered that, so because I'm pretty sure early on when we were talking about Kowalski and Tilk, that he'd be the symbiote would take over somebody, or if there's no one around, he's gonna take over the Jafar.
Yeah,
if he's on Hoth or something.
Yeah, it's just we've never seen a Jafar taken over by Goa'uld.
Yeah,
there's an episode in season 5 where they could have done it, but they don't even do it there either.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting. And the final one I had was
NTM.
that we can just add that to the tally of Wizard of Oz references
Yes.
for the end of season wrap up. And that's me done, boys.
It'd probably be time we actually went to the hairy mailbag by now, but if we're going to
Mate.
make 69 jokes, maybe we leave it until next week.
Our hairy
and we are
mailbag
running out of time.
is full to the brim.
We need to unload it.
It is bulging. It is. We need to empty it.
It's my plums.
It's
they're
All right, we're definitely saving it till next week.
Our hairy mailbag is so swelled it's turning blue.
a blue hue to them.
So apologies to everyone who has left a little something in our hairy mailbag.
Jesus.
We will have to get to it next week because we are running out of time.
And next week we're talking the season finale of season 2, Out of Mind. So join us back next week for more Stargate Sundays to talk about that one.
What a convenient title.
Oh, very good. Yeah, well,
Can we run out with Bryan Adams, please?
we can arrange that. In the meantime, you can catch us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast. You can check out all of our old podcasts if you are new to the show on Soundcloud and iTunes.
Feel free to leave
Subscribe
us-
too. Yeah, and with iTunes. Yeah, I assume that's
Feel free to leave us a review on iTunes as well because apparently that's a thing. Who knew?
Yeah. So, otherwise...
Only if you like us.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Don't think you get
5-star
this
only.
far in
4
if you
stars and
didn't
above,
like it.
please.
If you give
A little
us
bit.
if you give us a low vote, make sure you put your name down.
Yep.
And
We'll give you a shout out.
Be really delicate. And, of course, you can drop us a line to tell us that you love us. getintogate@gmail.com.
That's it, though.
Yeah,
Nothing
obviously.
else.
Nothing else.
Yeah, we're very fragile.
No constructive criticism or anything.
No, we don't need it, clearly. We proved that tonight. Myself, Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Maddie.
At HighPitch Maddie on Instagram.
Brendan.
At the Brendan Gibson. Oh, damn it. At the 69. Damn it.
And Rhys.
I am at the Flying Gibson.
Until next week, more Stargate Sundays talking Out of Mind, Season 2 finale.